Hey, good morning, you guys. Welcome back to the channel, Michael Clarida Arts. This morning, I'm going to be doing a video reviewing a piece of technology. You guys know that occasionally I'll do some product reviews or tech reviews or software reviews that I really think add to the to the artist or illustrator's repertoire tool belt. And I've done all-in-ones. I've done some tablets and whatnot. But this morning, the great people over there at XP Pen sent me a wonderful piece of technology, and it's their second generation Artist 22 HD tablet. And I'm extremely anxious to get in and start going through and understanding its features. I've used drawing tablets. I've used, the standalone tablets. I've used, like I said, all-in-ones for years and years. And the technology is always improving. And it seems like every single year, these big companies from Huion to, of course, XP Pen and Wacom come out with something that revolutionizes the industry. And, I've always been a firm believer that technology is merely a tool. It is not a solution. But that being said, we're going to do a simple unboxing. You guys know that I'm not really into doing unboxings that much, but I am a sort of a connoisseur of packaging, and because I am a package designer as well. So I'm going to go in and we're going to unbox the product. We're going to see the fit and finish quality of the packaging and the product itself and how they the package it. Then we're going to set it up. I'm going to pair it with a PC all-in-one. I'm doing this because that seems to be the the large majority of users use either a laptop or a all-in-one to utilize these tablets. This particular tablet, I believe, can also pair with a phone, but I'm not going to do that. I will end up pairing it as well with a Macintosh, so you can see the diversity that's in these modern tablets. It's very fascinating. So as far as the product goes, like I said, it's the XP Pen Artist 22, the second generation, and the product model CD220F, and it comes with a display resolution of 1920 by 1080. So I think that's probably high definition. The color gamut is 90% Adobe RGB with 86% NTSC and 122% of sRGB. So it's got a really nice saturated look to it. As far as the pen stylus goes, it seems that a lot of companies are going to the battery free, which I really support. It's got 8,192 levels of pressure sensitivity, which is great. I've been using just over the 4,000 levels on my other tablet for years and years, and it seems to work fine. And even, 10, 12 years ago, I did great artwork, incredible artwork on a tablet that had just over 1,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. So you can see just in a short amount of time, the pressure sensitivity is really advancing at an exponential rate. The resolution at 5080 LPI. And as far as the, looking here at the viewing angle, 178 degree viewing angle, it does come with a stand on the back, and we will look at that. And as far as compatibility, it is compatible with Windows and Mac OS. And I'm sure that I'm going to have to download a driver for this particular tablet. Why are we doing this particular review right now? Number one, every single year, like I said, a company comes out with a new generation of tablets. And what's great about XP Pen in comparison to some of the other companies is the fact that there's a high ratio of value to return, right? You always want to invest in something that's going to have a longevity, that's going to give back as much as you put in. And some of the other tablet companies, I think, are really expensive. Now, the quality is really there. But whenever we start putting things at a baseline and we start putting things, and putting value versus return, this particular tablet, I believe, retails for $499, which would put it in the budget, the budget area. As a professional, I want really high quality products. I want to be able to use those products for longer than 3 years. You know, one of the tablets that I used for 9 years. So that's one of the things that I look at whenever I go out and buy a product. I want it to last. So enough gabbing, let's go ahead and get to unboxing. Looking at the box itself, it's a really high quality. They put this incredible artwork on it, very attractive, love the colors, just a great presentation overall. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm right here in my drawing nook. As you see, there's my view on my drawing, from my drawing table. So as far as opening the package, it's pretty simple, right? You have these two tabs that you open up. I haven't opened it up at all, so this is literally my first kind of exposure. You guys know that I own the XP Pen remote, which I thoroughly enjoy, and I'm not advertising for them per se. I like their products. I've reviewed this particular device and it's served me well. You know, again, that value versus return is pretty high on that device. So, you know, we're opening up the packaging, and I like the packaging so far. It reminds me a lot of Apple packaging and Wacom packaging for that matter. It's got this piece of cardboard on top. All right, just from other reviews that I've seen, XP Pen is really good at including their little peripheral items, from their charge cables to their pen to their glove in these extra boxes, and a lot of times they'll include a gift. I don't know if that's going to happen this time. Again, we have the little tab here that gets pried open. Like I'd said before, I'm a very I'm a package enthusiast because I am a package designer, and the packaging on this particular product, the cardboard, I don't know what pound this is, but it's just okay. It's not fantastic. It is printed on one side, which is nice. So we get into the meat of the box here. It's got this cover. So we have a lot of little nooks and crannies where the items are placed. That looks like the pen barrel. That right there looks like the charge cables, interface cables. Oh, here's the charge cable. Here's the, looks like USB-C. Again, USB-C. Then we have a brick with a power supply, and of course, this right here, which is the glove. Warranty card. I guess that's probably has to do with the adjustment stand on the back. Maybe that might be the Versa arm. That looks like a HDMI cable, possibly. Interesting. And we have a cleaning glove and a thank you for purchasing, which is nice. Okay, so I'll go ahead and put these back really quick, and we will get on to the actual tablet. So it looks to be packaged pretty well. You have this expanding foam material, and it's bagged in plastic. So just because I don't want to accidentally drop it if I lift it up with one hand, I'm going to go ahead and pull it out for you guys and let you see it in all of its glory. Here it is. This is interesting. It gives you working time that you can contact their support if you need to make a phone call. And then you have some, I guess, some packing assets here. You have the plastic bag. It's very well packaged. This is interesting though. This little guy, I guess this is their character logo, which is pretty fun. So let's go ahead and get it out. So here it is. This is the XP Pen 22, Artist 22, second generation. I'm sure the 22, I believe it's 21.7, 21.5 diagonally. And now that I've got it out, it's very comparable to an existing product that I use made by a competitor. And in terms of just fit and finish and quality, it seems to be really good. It came with this, let's go ahead and pull this off, this protective cover. And it looks like there is a matte film applied. I have to look at the documentation to see if this is actually a bonded screen. I believe it was after I read the documentation. I'll go ahead and put that up so you guys can read it from their website. Okay, so I wanted to go onto their website just to make sure that I didn't miss something. So this is the advertisement right here for the Artist 22 on the XP Pen website store. So you can see that, you know, they're advertising, and I was correct, the 21.5 diagonally, 1080p resolution, 122% of the sRGB gamut. This is one of the things that I thought was very interesting right here, and I did mention that in the previous dialogue. It sports a USB-C connection to your iMac, MacBook Pro, or Windows computer without using an adapter. That's pretty cool. So I will be able to connect it directly to my all-in-one without that HDMI cable. So going down, says draw more precise. So they've ramped up the lag, you know, to have less lag, so you have more precise cursor positioning. And then syncing your creativity, milliseconds, 8 millisecond response time in the pen, which is fantastic. And we come down to the 60 degrees of tilt with 8,192 levels of pressure sensitivity. This was pretty cool too. It says a USB-C supported Android phone to this particular tablet, and you can project your phone screen, which is also pretty cool. It's got a headphone jack. I use wireless headphones, so it doesn't really apply. And then, of course, you've got that stand that's made out of metal. And then we have that little cover that covers up all of the unsightly cables that come out of the back of the machine. And, of course, you've got extensive compatibility, you know, with your Photoshop, your Medibang, Krita, GIMP, the Adobe products, and so on and so forth. And of course they show the product gallery, which is pretty cool, showing that piece of artwork that they paid somebody to do. Down the specifications, you know, these are all things that you guys can see on their website if you visit the XP Pen store, if you're really considering this tablet. How does it compare to some of the other tablets? Comparably priced. I think that you know, the competitors, your Wacom, your Huion. Huion's probably the closest in price point. Wacom's probably, if you were to get an HT22 HD, it's probably over $1,500 or $1,600. If you get the Pro version, you're probably looking at over $2,000. So $499 for this tablet is really a great deal overall. Does it have that bonded screen? I don't see that, but frankly, it doesn't matter. The parallax, which is the distance between your pen and the cursor, whenever I looked at it, it's almost negligible. You can't really see, and there is no lag time because it's got that 8 millisecond you know, variable whatever you're drawing, so you really can't notice any discernible time. Let me see here, specification. Let's see if we missed something in here. 175 brightness, 250 nits, I believe. CD, MD2. I don't know. I don't think it is. But you know what? That's okay, and it does require a driver that you have to download. So comparably priced, the 22E Pro, which does have the quick keys. And then you have the 22R Pro. So they have the 22R, the 22E, and this is the Artist series. I'm anxious to see what the difference is. Maybe there's a 4K screen on these. You know, I had a computer with a 4K screen, and with that matte screen protector that I put on there, you know, it just pretty much destroyed all the crispness that I might have gotten out of it. So I'm just looking over the product because I'm really big on product design and package design. And if you look, so we have some interface buttons right here at the top. This is the stand. It's got a little quick release, which is really nice. got to be really careful because I have it set up on my table. The only thing that I can see that isn't quite what I quote-unquote expected is this large bezel right here. And I understand there is a reason for the bezel. You know, whenever you look at some of the higher end products and you have basically all the way to the edge or very close to the edge and you have a minimal bezel, this is probably classified again as a economy tablet. It doesn't have quick keys on the side. But again, you know, whenever you start getting up in the upper echelon of products and you start putting these in here, the technology is multiplied. So that's why you're going to pay a higher price point overall. Here's the back of the tablet. As you see, this is the stand, and I believe that other little cover, you can remove that cover and put a Versa mount on here. I'm not really sure about that. I will check into that. But here is the interface plugins. Looks like we have HDMI, USB-C, power, and a headphone jack, which is really nice. Awesome. And then you have these probably cable locks right here that the cables go into. Oh, that's where that cover goes. So the cover goes over this. Okay, so that's really cool. And then one of the things that I really want to note is the plastic, and the quality of the plastic's really high quality. The rubber bumpers are a very, very nice addition. You know, and then it's got these rollers, these little roller bearings on the bottom, which also is really cool because you don't have to worry about scratching and causing an issue on a soft surface, maybe a glass table or a wood table that you want to keep for later use. It's just really nice. Now, in terms of weight, it's heavy, but it's not overly heavy. You know, one of my old tablets that I had years and years ago definitely was a lot heavier than this one. So they're streamlining down the products and the plastics, but still the quality is really high. So far I'm pretty impressed. So here is the goodie box with all the peripheral items. Here's the power cable, and here is the power supply. Fit and finish and quality looks pretty decent, very on par with a lot of the other items that I've seen in the marketplace. Nothing looks chintzy, nothing looks cheap. In terms of quality, you know, I would definitely put it up there with its competitors. Definitely nice. We come to the one USB, looks like USB-C, and also another USB to USB. That's probably a 3-point. I believe. Okay, got those. We come to the HDMI cable. I heard a long time ago that, you know, company was selling HDMI cables for $75, $85. I believe it was Monster. And they were getting a huge amount of money for HDMI cables, when in actuality, you know, a cheaper HDMI cable would do just fine. Now, if you're outside, you probably need something a little bit more durable, but for this, and it's going to be inside its entire life, the fit and finish is really good. The plastic is nice. It's not real loose. I don't know what gauge this is, but it's a very nice HDMI cable for this particular unit. And they come with little Velcro organizing straps, which is always nice, so you don't have to deal with cables going all over the place. That's really, you know, I don't really like that. And of course, the glove. Funny thing is I just got through purchasing one of these gloves not too long ago. They're about $11 on Amazon, and you get it for free. Well, you pay for it. It's amortized inside of the cost of the tablet. And then finally, the star of the show here. Before we get on to that, we'll look at this little thank you for supporting. That's always nice. I hate that sound. So let's look what this is. You have a lint-free cleaning cloth, which is always nice. Thank you for choosing XP pen, and a quick guide to the second generation in Artist 24. Now, I know they have different models. So you have the Artist series, which I believe is the, you know, like I said, the lower echelon of products they carry. goes all the way up to the Artist 24, and then they have the Artist 22 Pro that has the quick keys and the rotation dial on the side, which is nice. But this is nice, a little thank you, and of course the lint-free cleaning cloth to go with the million other lint-free cleaning cloths that I own, and of course the star of the show. Here, let's get rid of this box. As you see, my desk gets a lot of use. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull this little sleeve off. This is very similar to a lot of the other products that I see in the marketplace. They have this barrel, which is a really good way to store the pen. It's got this decal, and I'm always interested in package design and how they apply things, so I'm looking at the decal itself. It is a little crooked, which is always interesting, so you can definitely tell this was hand done. I think that it's great to put this little indicator on this side because this is where the pen nibs are. You unscrew this, and voila, you have the pen nibs. Now if you look, there's a little rubber applique on the end there, and that you know, if you want to set it on a desk, on a flat desk, it's not going to move around. It's definitely got a grip to it. But if you look on the inside, you see the little hole in the center. That's where you're going to stick your pen. You're going to put a little pressure to the side. You're going to pull it out, and that's going to pull out the nib so you can replace it with another one. I don't replace nibs a lot. Probably once a year. I don't really go through them that much. So, you know, that'll probably last you for the entire duration that you own this particular tablet. So let's go ahead and unscrew where the pin is. Now this is really nice. This has weight to it, so it probably has some type of metal on the inside or a heavier material. So what this will act as is your pen stylus little base that you can, you know, put in whenever you're done, instead of just laying it on a table. And what is nice too about the XP pen is it's got a textured rubber barrel here. It's tapered on the end, and the pen nib sticks out a little bit further than some of the other pen companies that I've utilized. It says, warning, do not twist off the pen cap and do not drop it from height. I'm sure that ooh, yuck. Okay, so this stinks. Again, you know, I go back to the whole. Okay, so I just took that sticker off, and look, so we have some debris that is left that I'm going to have to address. Obviously, you know, as an artist and somebody that looks at details, especially whenever I unbox, you know, a tablet, you know, that possibly I just purchased, I don't want to have to deal with this. This is crummy. So I have to take my fingernail and I have to slowly get rid of the debris that decal left. You know, you just buy something that you know really are excited about, and the decal just tears apart, and that could be because of moisture or whatever. But man, look at that beautiful pen marred by a decal. Honestly, you know, I understand that you don't twist this off, and maybe you could just put that in the directions, but man, yeah, it takes a few seconds, but it is irritating because then you have all the stickiness on there. Okay, so we got that off. Crisis averted. I could probably use their lint-free little whatchamacallit. Okay, so it's got two, looks like programmable buttons on the pen, very similar to their competitors. And what I see, it is round, but these are sticking out a little bit, so in terms of rolling, that'll probably inhibit it from rolling. And I've always been interested why they do this. They make it flat. Maybe it has to do with the tampo print, you know, the rubber that comes down and it tampo prints this with the ink. So that's probably, again, you know, one of their manufacturing processes that's been in place for a while. What I would like to see as far as the pen goes, possibly some type of customization. You know, their competitors definitely have the little color rings and you can customize their pens, but overall I think fit and finish, and the fact that it comes with this little handy dandy, this is interesting, this is rubberized too. Maybe it has to do with whenever you keep putting it in and out and it grips it. So that is the pen, and it is embossed. It looks, again, you have that flat surface where you have an embossed little logo for XP Pen. So. Okay, so here's the 22 Artist 22, the XP Pen Artist 22 Artist Series HD. I placed it on my drawing desk, and the image you're seeing right now was the test that I did over the last couple days, just to kind of work out the kinks when setting this machine up. The kink that I had before I start drawing today in Photoshop, the kink that I had didn't have anything to do with XP Pen. I have an older Lenovo laptop, and unfortunately one of the USB-C ports was bad, and it's got a finicky video card reader, meaning it didn't want to recognize that the tablet was there. So what I'll end up doing for my actual tutorials is I'm going to hook it up to my Mac, and I'm just going to run it off of that. So what you're going to see today is just a little experimentation, right? Experimentation meaning I wanted to see initially how the tablet, first of all, since it doesn't have any quick keys, I am using the quick key remote. For those of you who don't know what this is, it is a programmable remote control that works via a dongle, and the dongle USB plugs into the side of your machine, and you can go in and you can pre-program the express keys, and you have a scroll wheel, and you can toggle in between. You can see Photoshop. I've already set Photoshop up. And it's really convenient. This is very comparable to their competitors' remote that, you know, has is made of metal, and it's got a scroll wheel. And the difference between XP Pen and some of their competitors is the fact that this is like $45 retail. I know that some of the other competitors' remotes are exceedingly expensive, and that's probably why I don't own one. So that being said, how did I feel drawing on the XP Pen? So you guys see that I did this image right here, and it's got a lot of high details, and it was a joy. It was really cool. The color saturation was really good, and just the overall feel. Now, I'm coming into this as a little bit of a different perspective, because I use, I use these devices every single day. So this device will end up in my full rotation of devices that I'll end up using every single day. And the pressure sensitivity is really good. In terms of wobble, let's go ahead and zoom really way in. Now this is a textured brush. Okay. The diagonal test is really good. Let's go ahead and get rid of that textured brush. This is one of the tests that a lot of people utilize to determine whether or not the tablet has any wobble. And as you see, there is no wobble. There's no wobble vertically, there's no wobble horizontally. Any wobble you see will be from just my hand going up and down. Overall pressure is amazing. Over 8,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. And that is one of those deals. Pressure sensitivity, obviously, more is better. Yes, more is better, but you have to understand too that what it's actually doing. So, you know, 8,000 levels of pressure sensitivity, whenever you are really small like this, it doesn't really matter, right? You know, you're drawing and it's all condensed and it's down to this very tip. Where you're going to see the issue is whenever you get up larger and you start getting into some of these larger brushes. But for those of you who just, you know, like I do, I usually stay within the 30 to 40 pixel range, maybe 120 if I'm doing a large area. So, how do I feel about this so far? So far, I love the pen. Okay, the pen's really nice. It's kind of light. It's lighter compared to some of the other pens that I have. One of my pens that I recently got, which was from my Lenovo, I wrapped it in rubber because it was having some issues. But this has a little bit of weight to it, obviously because there's a battery and it's made of metal. This does not feel cheap, but it doesn't have the same, I don't know, it doesn't have the same quote-unquote feel that some of the other pens do. I like how it's a little bit longer, and the tip's longer, which is really nice. And I think this has a little bit of a rubber nib. I'd have to get my magnifying glass out. little bit of a rubber nib on the end. And I did have an issue when I first started drawing on this, because whenever they send it to you, they send it to you with a, excuse me, a glued, not glued, it's not glued on there, but it's adhered with a little bit of an adhesive. And you peel that off, as you saw in the unboxing, and then it leaves just a slight residue. So you're drawing, and you're going to hit some areas that still have a little bit of that tacky residue on it. So no sweat. You can always clean it off with the tack cloth that they include with it. And overall, I love it. I think that it's right on par with the competitors, your Wacom, your Huion. I've used a Wacom tablet now for years, all the way since 1990. I'm going to date myself here. I had a Wacom Intuos back in, I don't think it was an Intuos, back in 2000, and previous to that, I was at Ringling. I graduated in 2000 and ended up getting a job with Foot Locker as a graphic designer, illustrator in 2000. And they had some Wacom tablets, and I think the pressure sensitivity on those was like 496. Something ridiculous. So, I've slowly progressed. I think I got my first Cintiq, might have been 08, 09, 07, 08, 09, somewhere around there. And that was the Cintiq 21UX, and I used that forever. Actually, it might have been earlier than that, because I just recently got rid of that, believe it or not. It was still working. So, these new companies, like your XP Pen, your Huion, they're coming onto the scene, and they're starting to make really good products at a very good price point.
Chris would like to talk to myself.
Okay, a little bit of a stumble there. My apologies for that. I get phone calls, and my Alexa is hooked up to my phone, so every time I get a phone call, my Alexa goes off. So that's what you guys heard. So my apologies for that. Anyway, I can't even remember what I was talking about. Probably something with the XP Pen. And the fact that I've been using these devices forever, and just as a first swing, meaning my first real feeling for this tablet, it's very good. It's very on par. It's kind of hard these days to say things negative about this technology. It's a wonderful time to be a digital artist. And you can get tablets, you can have portables, you can get all-in-ones. The technology is just wonderful, and they're really getting good with manufacturing and streamlining it and getting it inexpensive. And this tablet, compared, like I said, to my other tablet that I own, this is right on par with that. I would say probably equal. Now, in terms of pressure sensitivity, that other tablet that I own is only right at 4,096, I believe, levels of pressure sensitivity. So whenever I first got on this one, I started really, that expectancy to have it really different. I wanted it to be super different. I'm like, oh, it's got almost twice the level of pressure sensitivity. But, like I'd said before, you're not going to notice a huge amount of difference, especially in the smaller file size. And the smaller brush size. It is smoother. There is more accuracy, I would say, overall, and it does feel better. But I had used like I said, my Wacom 21UX for years and years, and it worked fine. So, what am I doing? I'm just doing some character sketches, some character heads. I'm not doing anything in particular. Just because today is Wednesday, and Wednesdays are usually jam-packed full of stuff. I will be doing tutorials, and I have done a couple tutorials about Photoshop recently. And you know, I'm trying to kind of get it to where people can come to my channel and, you know, you get a little bit of everything. You get some tutorials, you get some reviews, you get a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and I'll be doing tutorials about animals and animal paintings and animal drawings. And one of my first pieces that I really want to get into is illustrating like cartoon animals and how to create cartoon animals from real animal sketches. So like this piece right here that I did, taking this piece, then refining it down and creating a cartoon or a character, you know, creating character art from you know, realistic rendering art. That's basically what I want to do for my first, and then I'll end up going and I'll translate that over to character design and translate that over to plush design and translate that over to toy design and what's involved in that whole process and how somebody can get into, you know, some of those areas in the biz, they say. I do like the fact that I can just reach over and I can pull this and I can adjust the angle, and that's really nice. And the stand itself is made of metal, so I'm not really worried about, you know, it being damaged per se. One of the things that I noticed, okay, and this is something that has to do with this device, okay, so previous to me going over into this environment with this particular tablet, this device was paired with a driver that was specific for this particular device. Now, what they did, and this happens pretty regularly, is they went ahead and they created a driver that encompasses everything. So you'll have this, then I can go over, I can mess around with the tablet, and that's really convenient. And I love the fact they created a little character. But that being said, this is a little harder to use now. And what I noticed is I'll accidentally hit a key combination and it'll bring up a different set of variables for the XP Pen remote. And when that happens, I'm like, what did I do? Because then it'll scroll through my layers whenever I'm using this being the scroll wheel, and I think it has to do with the combination of control with some of the other keys. So that was one of my big frustrations that I had over the last couple days messing around. And two, I'll accidentally hit the key, I'll hit the rocker here, the rocker button, and what it'll do, it'll change in between modes. So right now I accidentally hit the eraser mode. Now I've got to hit the pen mode. See, it'll go pen to eraser, which I think is fascinating. It doesn't automatically go back to pen, which, you know, it's neither here nor there. I don't really see a need to default to one, but it does. So I'm just doing, like I said, some character sketch faces and, you know, just having a little bit of fun. Trying to let you guys see before I go and I start doing a bunch of tutorials. And you guys are like, why'd you do that? I don't care about any of that other crap. Just draw, monkey. Draw for me. Entertain me. That's me. That's me. Okay. You guys know that I love to draw cowboys. I love to draw birds. There are certain things that just for some reason resonate with me when I draw. You know, had somebody ask me, do I ever have issues with being creative? Yeah, occasionally I do. I mean, nobody can be creative 24/7, right? We all have to have that moment where we step back and basically, you know, remember, yeah, I'm not a machine. I do need sleep. And I think that, especially since I do so many different types of artwork, sometimes I really have to just step back and do simple stuff like this and kind of go back to my roots. You know, I told you guys before that, you know, for a long time I worked in an industry, an apparel industry, and the apparel industry doesn't really reward its artists. It doesn't have the same quote-unquote clout as some of the other industries, your animation industry and some of that. But what I learned, let's go ahead and have that bottom lip kind of out like that. He's like, what I learned in the apparel industry was the ability to change styles, because, you know, whenever you're doing shirts and apparel and clothes and licensed, which I was doing a lot of licensed work, being able to change your style a lot. And let's go and have this. There we go. That's what he's doing. He's whistling. So we're going to have that. He's kind of got his eyes closed. And it really gave me the opportunity to expand and understand and learn different types of mediums, different types of character design, different, you know, and two, the guy that I used to work for, he was a business, you know, he had severe ADD, but he also had a really great business sense, and he was always expanding his business. So I got the opportunity to do vehicle wraps and helicopter stuff, and I designed interiors, and I ended up designing the entryway to his house. And so that gave me a unique opportunity again to, you know, expand those artistic endeavors. So, you know, also I got to learn a lot of different programs, because, you know, whenever you're doing design and different types of design all the time, you have to change things up and you know, be creative in every context. But idea-wise, sometimes, yeah, I have issues, so I have to rest, I have to chill, I have to, you know, I have to take a moment, I have to, you know, refuel, step back. It's definitely important. Exercise is a great thing if you have the opportunity to do it on a regular basis. I recommend that, just to kind of cleanse your mental palate, release some of those endorphins. Have that come around. Here's his hat. You know, I would go every single day and I would ride sometimes 7, 10, 15 miles on my break at work, you know, on my bike. And it was great. You know, come back, you get a fresh perspective, and you get those endorphins released, and, you know, you get some health along the way. Of course, the more successful you are, a lot of times you don't get the opportunity to get out as much, but, and of course the weather will dictate that as well. But definitely, yeah, see, it did it right there. See, I just hit control right there. So now what I'm going to do, see, it changed to the move tool. So I'm going to hit control, and I'm going to release control, and I'm going to go back, and it goes back to the brush. See, it's a little thing like that that really I started working, and I'm like, gosh, why is it doing that? And then I figured it out. So I'm sure it's a quick key that I need to mess around with, reprogram. Okay. So overall, I think the XP Pen Artist 22 second generation is great. I think it's a great value, you know, very comparable to other items. Now, in terms of longevity, I don't know how long this particular device will last. Fit and finish is really nice. Quality is really nice. It's got nice heft to it. The sizing is really good. I like the matte finish quality to the screen. The nibs and the pen, everything is really good so far, but it's brand new. So let's just make sure that maybe I come back to this and see where we're at next year, right? I had one of my students bring a Huion tablet in. It looked like it had been run over, and the fit and finish and the quality was terrible, you know, and it barely worked. And he's like, yeah, it's like 3 months old. I'm like, what? You know, that's one of the things that some of the other tablet companies really strive for, is high quality, and I think XP Pen is definitely on their way. You know, I've never used one of their Artist Pro series. Artist Pro being, you have the quick keys on the side. I'm not sure if it has a 4K screen or not. I'd have to look that up. Okay. I'm so used to flipping it around. So let's go ahead and hit eraser. Boom, it goes to the eraser. So that's convenient. I do like that. It doesn't automatically switch back. So then I hit it again, and it goes back to the pen. Very cool. Well, I think that's where I wanted to land before I go ahead and start doing all of the tutorials that I'm going to be doing. Okay, so it did it again. So let's go ahead and hit Control. It goes back. I just got to watch it. It's so interesting. Now, if I had a keyboard right here, fine, I could use the keyboard and it would be fantastic. Go ahead and add a layer. Go up here, change to taper. Okay. A little bit of a highlight. Nice. Let's put a little bit of color. So let's go ahead, put a little bit of color in for you guys. So just so you guys know, I am using an all-in-one. This is hooked up via USB-C. I've got the HDMI cable going into a USB-C, and that USB-C is going into my machine. Now, I think I should be able to just hook in the USB-C. I haven't tried it yet. So I might do that after this little sketch do. So let's go ahead and get a flesh tone. Flesh tone. That's too green. Yeah, that's pretty good. A little bit redder. And a bit redder. There we go. I don't know if any of you guys watched my... Ooh, that's terrible. He's got jaundice. Yeah, it's still yellow. Let's go down a little bit. Eesh, terrible. What am I doing? We're going almost orange. There we go. Nope. Like a 364. Is that what that is? 361? Window, color path, swatches, CMYK. Import swatches. Nah. Alright, that is my notification that I need to go and pick up my son. Okay, so we're going to put some color behind here. I haven't landed on a flesh tone yet. A little bit too orange. A little bit too orange. Let's go a little bit redder, a little bit pinker. There we go. That's pretty good. So for those of you who are confused how I'm doing this, the sketch is on top. The sketch is on a transparent layer. You can see that. Here's the background. Here's my color layer underneath. So what I'm doing just really quickly is I'm putting in, whoops, some rudimentary color very quickly, just so I can get these wrapped up for you guys on this wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Okay, let's go down to brown. And this puts in a very simplified color. Whoops. Oops. There we go. Okay, and that big mustache. Oops. Awesome. Okay. Zoom out. Good. Okay. Oh, accidentally hit the eraser. Okay. Whoops. Make that smaller. Okay. Good, 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 good. Okay. Now we're going to go down to brown. Let's do a lighter brown. More saturated. There we go. I'll tell you what, son. Good, 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 good. Got that eyebrow coming over that front of that hat. I'm okay with that. It's not really correct, but you know what? I'm okay with that. Okay. Okay. Yep, the XP pen definitely is a viable option. I mean, compared to, you know, other tablets that are more expensive, you know, the name brand, your Huion, your Wacom, all of that, this is definitely a viable option. You know, if you only got a few $100s to spend and you want something that does the job and it does it well. I mean, the deal is, you know, there's that whole adage of professionalism and is it a professional tool? It's at a budget price point, and yeah, I mean, I could do professional work with it. So I could do professional work with my stinking 21UX, you know. It all has to do with how long it's going to last. Is it going to last? Is it going to stand the test of time? Is it going to be there 5, 7, 8, 9 years from now? You know, and you're like, 9 years? Yeah, that's, you know, I typically keep my computers and I update them for that long. You know. Okay, so now let's go ahead and sample this. What I'll typically do is I'll keep a running list of the colors over here on the side, just because I don't want to have to go back and figure out what color it is, you know, by removing the sketch, and I can just go over and hit it really quickly. So now I'm going to go ahead and make it a little bit pinker. Let's go pink right around there. Okay, let's turn off the taper. Let's go here. Okay. And just by the nature of the fact that I've drawn a lot of faces, I know where the blood flow is. You have thin skin equals where the blood flow is. So you're going to have a lot pinker nose. You're going to have really thin skin on the lips. You're going to have thin skin in the ears because it's cartilage. And then, you know, maybe a little bit down here. And maybe he's blushing a little bit. He's had a little bit of sunburns. Let's go ahead and do this. A little bit darker. Little bit pink. Good. Okay. And then I'm going to, again, choose the color. Okay, I'm going to go over here to kind of a green, kind of a sallow here. Because if you look around your mouth area, around your chin, a lot of times it's either purple or green. Oops. Let's go ahead and make that smaller. Okay, good. All right, so I'm good with that. Let's go ahead and lock. Let's lock this down. Good. Layer. Merge down. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to create a layer mask, and that's basically a clipping mask, layer mask. So that's going to go on top of my color layer, and anything that I put in will basically stay within the confines of the sketch. So I'm locking all the transparent pixels, so I can't draw on any of these transparent pixels. You see? So that's really cool. So like if I have, let's say, a shadow layer, and I make it purple, dark purple, I multiply it, and then I pull back on the opacity, and then I start putting in the shadow. Okay, so upper right hand side, so this is all going to be darker. Okay, I think my computer is doing something fishy. I can feel it. You know how whenever you are painting or something and you're like, oh, the computer must be compiling, or it's doing a security scan. Stop it! So you don't want to, like I've said before, you don't want to use black or white. White is for simple highlights and highlights in general, but you want to try and remember your color theory, right? Your warms, your cools, you know, that type of situation. So shadows, I'll typically do a purple, or it depends on the environment that I'm illustrating at that time. Good. Good. Okay, so now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add another layer. I'm going to go ahead and hit the Alt key. And I'm going to hit that layer above the shadow layer. Now, not funny, but cool thing is, it's going to reference my original color layer. So again, here we are in full opacity, no layer transparency, and you see the color that I'm using. And instead of that, I'm going to go ahead up to a warm hue, and I'm going to hit overlay. And I'm going to start doing some just simple, again, simple highlights. Going to warm up that mustache. And I still don't have taper on, so I need to watch what I'm doing here. And a reflected light down below there. Some reflected light in the background. There we go. A little bit better. I'm going to switch brushes. Instead of being textured, I'm going to come over here to a... No, that's not what I want. There we go. Lost shade. So that's really cool. So now I can get a really big and not have that texture interfering too bad. Okay. Okay. And then finally, just for giggles, because I want to have it a little bit more dynamic, I can go ahead and put in like a linear dodge. Let's do color dodge. Color dodge. Okay. Alright, so let's opacity. So I'm going to make the... Oh, did it again. Make it really big. Whoops. There we go. And I'll just go back and I'll just start putting in. Yeah, it's not quite working out the way I wanted it to. Blur a little bit here and there. He's got a little bit of going off in the distance there. Whoops. Yeah, a little bit off the distance there. I can mess around with the opacity somewhat. Okay. And then maybe put a... I'm trying to think what color would be good. Kind of like a... Typically in color theory, whenever you want maximum contrast, you want to have the opposite. So the opposite of brown would be red. The opposite of this cream color, yellowish, would probably be a green. So I'm going to go kind of in the middle, right about there. So that would... Whoops. So let's go here. Okay. Gives it a nice natural hue. And with the pressure sensitivity being what it is, this large brush, I get a nice feel. It's not going in and slamming the document, you know, the art, with a heavy hand, right? Okay. I'm going to get a little bit lighter on the bottom. Let's lock that transparency. Now it'll only stay within the confines of that particular layer. It's like having a layer mask on the layer. It stays within there. Okay, and I'm going to do a little bit of blue up top. There we go. So that's a nice gradient without having to do too much. So, alright, and then finally, we're going to let's do overlay, let's do white. So we're just going to do simple little highlights here and there. And with that layer sensitivity, or the brush sensitivity being what it is, you can just go in and get some real nice nuance. Maybe it's kind of moist here and there. A little bit of reflected light right there. Okay. And two, this is very quick. This is, you know, quick and dirty. You do hundreds of these, right? Just to kind of get a feel for the character of what it is, what they're trying to accomplish with the character. Head shape, hat size, mustache size, eyebrow placement, eye placement, nose configuration. There's so many variables in character design. Let's go ahead and do this. We'll go down to color. Nope, I did it again. Okay, oops. I'm still getting used to it. Brush size. Okay. Okay. There we go. Here we go. Good, 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 good. Okay. And like I said, just have fun with it, right? Just have fun. So that's what I wanted to show you guys. Unboxing of the XP Pen Artist 22 second generation. This is a high definition screen. This is one of their more budget tablets, but I gotta be honest with you, just by setting it up, I think this tablet is going to be one of my go-to tablets just for, you know, sketching, tutorials, and setting it up the way that I have it attached to that all-in-one, my PC, you know, being able to utilize, you know, the quad, or I think it's 8 processors. I think that PC has 8 processors. It's an i7. So it fuels it just great. And my PC doesn't have this massive video card. It's got an Intel 620 HD Iris, I believe, and it runs the tablet just fine. So hopefully you guys got something from this really short unboxing and little bit of character sketch work, warm-up, whatever you want to call it. The next video that I'm going to be putting on the channel is going to be a full-out, really diving in deep into the XP Pen tablet and utilizing it for actual illustration and tutorial work. So, that being said, stay tuned and definitely come back, okay? Thank you guys. Bye.